Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another meal prep slash batch cooking video. I like to do these videos weekly. For one, it helps me out during the week to stay on track and less stress for sure. And for two, I'm really hoping that this gives you guys the motivation to get into the kitchen and start cooking for yourself and your family. We have a lot of good recipes today, so let's jump in the kitchen and let's get started. All right, so we're going to start out with breakfast, and if anybody has been watching me for any time at all, they know I love sausage and eggs. So I'm just going to use that smoked sausage right there and cut it up into bite-sized pieces, and we are going to saute that in some Kerrygold butter. The pan that I'm using is a pan that a company called Cokes sent me. I'll leave the link down below, but that is actually oven safe as well. I think it comes with 2 different pans. Not affiliated, just love the pans that they sent me. They sent me those, and then they sent me those red speckled ones that I always show on my videos. But again, not affiliated, but really loving these pans. So I like to saute up my sausage until they are nice and browned. And then I do take some of that grease out of there because I won't put my eggs in there. To me, I think that's too much grease, but obviously you do you. But cooking your eggs in sausage grease or bacon grease gives your eggs so much flavor. So I just added some pepper, and then I did add some salt. But just be aware with how much salt you're adding because the sausage is pretty salty within itself. And then because this is going to be reheated during the week, you can soft scramble your eggs so that way when you go to reheat them, they're perfect. I don't know. I don't really worry about it because it doesn't bother us, but that is definitely an option. This is a great protein-packed meal to pack up in your lunch to take with you for breakfast. So if you're a breakfast eater but you don't have the time, this is a great option, and it's so ridiculously simple. Like 10 minutes right here, maybe 15. So easy, so simple, but yet so perfect. Next up, we're going to be making pigs in a blanket. My non-keto family loves these. They just seriously can't get enough of these. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make the dough. So that's going to be 3.5 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese. This recipe that I'm using, I'm going to link it down below, but this is the absolute favorite recipe I have found for Fathead dough. Next, you're going to put 1.5 cups of almond flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of xanthan gum. I just use that Red Mills. I found that at Walmart. You're going to put a little bit of salt in there. And then you're going to want to go in with the seasoning. So I use Italian seasoning. We're going to put in there some garlic powder. Then I stir all that up and I microwave all of that together. I have found it so much easier to microwave the cheese with all the dry ingredients. It mixes so much better. Look how easy that was. And then I just take a spoon and I mix it up. And then very last thing I do is I add 1 egg. Mix that up, and you will eventually have to go in with your hands. Make sure you wet your hands or something so the dough does not stick to your hands. I just form my dough into a ball, and then I go in with a knife and I cut it into a half first. And then I flip it around, and then I cut that half into half and then fourths. And then I do that on both sides because this is 8 servings. And then I just grab a piece of that dough and I just manipulate it around the hot dog. Just like so. And then I just kind of squish it up, and I literally manipulate it however I can to get it around the hot dog. Roll it around my hands. But once you get it around there, it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't wrap it around the entire hot dog. I just kind of leave it like that, and that's it. I do place them on parchment paper on a baking sheet, and then I like to baste them with some melted butter and everything but the bagel seasoning put on top of those. is like the icing on the cake. If you don't like it, then you can leave it off. But we love that stuff, and these are so good. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. And then because I made these a little bit differently, I just had to watch them. I think they took about 15, maybe 20 minutes in my oven. Every oven is different, but just watch for them to get that beautiful golden brown, and they will be done. These are delicious. Dunk them in your favorite dunking sauce, and that is an amazing lunch. Put a side with it, side salad or whatever. Perfect. Next up, we are going to be making some pork chops. I found these at Sam's. These ones were perfect. The marbling in them and everything was so good. I'm just going to use that organic garlic pepper from Real Salt. That is Redmond's. I will leave the link to this down below if you guys are interested in trying out Redmond's. They have all kinds of salt and seasonings and all that good stuff, and it is delicious. So I just took a nice, fairly large chunk of Kerrygold butter at the bottom of my electric skillet. I love the way my electric skillet makes steaks and chicken and pork chops and so many things. I love that thing. I seasoned it really well with that seasoning, and then we are just going to let that cook until it gets a nice browning on the other side. Wait for it. Wait for it. Oh, look at that, y'all. Is that not perfection? What? So, those are perfect. I went ahead and added some seasonings to the other side, and I'm telling you, you guys, this is like the perfect way to make pork chops next to like breading them. Look how beautiful they are. These were juicy. These were tender. The marbling, like I said, was perfect. These were so good. Next up, I am making a very simple dish. So that is 2 pounds of ground hamburger meat. I'm literally just going to cook that up in a pan. I'm going to take 1 package of ranch, 1 package of taco seasoning. Little disclaimer, that is dirty keto. The ingredients are not that great. You can definitely find other options to make your own taco seasoning and your own ranch, so you don't have to do the dirty keto route, but this is what worked. So I went ahead and dumped both of those packages in there, and I did add a little bit of water because I drained the fat, but then I added a little bit of water so that way it wouldn't be too dry. I do keep a little bit of fat for the flavor, but I cannot do that much fat. If I left that much fat in there, that kind of grosses me out. I know we're doing keto, and I know it's all about the fat, but I can't do that much fat. So I just stirred that up. You can make cheese shells and have tacos. You can make taco salad. You could literally just have this plain. You could put it with a side dish of vegetables, whatever you want to do. Next up, we are making a bacon cheeseburger casserole. I am just going to use my handy dandy kitchen scissors and cut the bacon right into my pan, so that way it's super easy peasy for me. And that, to me, is the easiest way to get your bacon fried up in the pan. Other than that, I always use my air fryer to cook my bacon. But I cooked my bacon until it was nice and crispy. And then while the bacon cooked, I went ahead and prepared and cut up the onion. I used the whole onion because it was delicious in here. And look how nice and crispy that bacon is. You want to get it nice and crispy, because in my personal opinion, the flavor is just so much better when it's nice and crispy. So I want to have the least amount of dishes that I possibly can. So I drained out all of the fat, and that is the same pan I'm going to cook my 2 pounds of ground beef in. I love it when I can use the same pan. So much better. So I went ahead and put the 2 pounds of ground beef in there, that entire onion that I chopped up, and then that was probably around a tablespoon of garlic. I'm just going to cook all of that together until it is nice and browned and the onions are nice and translucent. So delicious. I'm telling you, you guys, if you guys have not had bacon cheeseburger casserole, y'all need to start making it. I went ahead and dumped our crispy bacon into the same dish as our ground beef. I did drain the grease off of there. And then I'm just going to dump all of that in the bottom of a casserole dish. I went ahead and sprayed my casserole dish so nothing would stick. And then spread it out, and then I will show you how we are going to make the sauce that is going to go over it. So those are the ingredients that we're going to use in the sauce. You guys, I promise you, if you don't make anything else out of this meal prep, make this because it is delicious. So we are going to start out with 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. And then that's probably around 3 to 4 tablespoons of ketchup. Do more, do less, do you. And that was around a little over a half a can of tomato paste. Just remember, when you're making recipes, you don't have to make them to the T. You make the recipes how you and your family are going to enjoy them. You can tweak recipes. You can tweak pretty much most recipes. So I'm also adding in 5 eggs. I'm adding in some mustard powder. If you don't want to do mustard powder, you can just add in regular mustard. I'm going to add in some garlic powder. I don't measure my seasonings, I just guess, but make sure that you are generous. I went ahead and added some pepper, and then we're also going to add in some salt. You want to be generous with your seasonings because your seasonings are the things that give your meals flavor, for sure. So don't be afraid of seasonings. They are like your best friend in the kitchen. When you're done with all of that, you are going to just take a whisk and whisk that all together. And that is how it's going to look. You know what? I already want to make this again. It was so good. And then you're just going to take the sauce that we just made and you're just going to pour it over the top of your meat mixture that you already cooked. And it doesn't look like it's enough, but I promise you, when it starts getting right into the nooks and crannies, it's going to be plenty. So I just kind of mix it around. You can even shake your dish so that way it really gets into the bottom of your dish and everything. And then I just went ahead and added a little bit more salt on the very top of it. And then I added some cheese. You can have whatever kind of cheese you want. You're going to bake this at 350 degrees for around 30 minutes. Every oven's different. Watch it. When it starts getting golden at the top and nice and bubbly and hot, then it is done. But I promise you, this is going to be a family favorite. Your kids are going to love this. You know, little things. If they don't like onions or if they don't like garlic or whatever, just leave that part out or switch it out for something different. Again, make it your own, create your own creation, and have fun in the kitchen. This would be 8 servings if somebody is wondering. Next up, we are going to be making some meatballs. So that is 1 pound of sausage, 1 pound of ground beef. I'm going to be putting in there all of those seasonings. So garlic, Italian, parsley, salt, pepper, an egg, and Parmesan cheese. So I'm only going to put in there 1 egg, 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, and then we're going to go in with all of those seasonings. Again, don't be shy. Don't be scared to add them. Put that parsley, Italian seasoning, garlic powder, salt, and pepper. And don't be shy. But do remember that sausage is a little bit saltier. So when it comes to the salt, I wouldn't add quite as much salt. Just know which foods are a little bit saltier, like sausages and stuff like that. And when you know that, then just back off of the salt just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a ton, just a little bit. But I promise you, these are going to be so flavorful. Just dig right in there with your hands, mix all that up, create whatever size meatballs that you want, and roll with it. Spray your pan real nicely so they don't stick, and then we are going to bake these in the oven, and look how beautiful those are. I preheated my oven to 400 degrees, and these took around 20 minutes to bake. Again, all ovens are different. Definitely just continue to check on them, but that is what they should look like when they are finished. These were superb. You could literally just eat them as a snack just like that. Or, I mean, you could make zoodles with it or some kind of low-carb noodle with some sauce and have spaghetti and meatballs. But either way, at least the most time-consuming part is done. All right, y'all, that is going to conclude this week's meal prep. I hope this gave you the motivation and inspiration to just, even if it's a small meal prep, to meal prep for yourself and your family to help you stay on track, so that way you have things when you come home from work and you don't have to stress about what you're going to eat. But for now, I think that's all I have for you guys. Like always, I'm praying for you, your family, and your country. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate every single one of you guys. And don't forget to go out there and make today even better than yesterday. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.
On my own, but I don't know why you hit the road, but you don't realize I won't look back when you're around. I won't think twice when you're